backyard, and I'm going to show you guys the 5 well pads, which equal out to approximately 28 gas wells. The closest one is 1,500 feet, and it's right up here. They finished drilling the vertical and horizontal wells, and they will be coming back to frack it, which I hope is soon while I can have my windows closed. So there's this one. There's another well pad right up along the crest of the hill, kind of behind the trees. And then there's 3 more well pads over in this direction. And if you look closely, you can see the drill rig.
Oh yeah, there's the top of it.
So, and currently they're putting in a water line. And it's going to go to all of the wells that are up here. And they're taking water out of a fire hydrant in an adjoining township. And that's how what the water they're going to use to frack the wells. And in the next several weeks, they're going to dig up the hillside again to put in the collection line for the gas.
So they're using municipal water supplies coming out of the fire hydrants that would otherwise, would be used for
Drinking
emergency
water.
And drinking water. Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So you live up here on a pretty nice knoll and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a lot of drainage, but you're concerned also about your neighbors around here too. I would assume, right?
Right.
I mean,
We're all
these folks down here, like down over the hill. That's like when we've been observing around and going around to people's pads, we can see, especially on like cool days when it's really still, when it vents, when these kind of like tanks vent, or if you have any release, it kind of hangs around and then drifts down that heavy.
Yes,
yeah.
It does.
So you see some of that, right?
We could see from the well pad up here. If we would stand in my neighbor's yard, you get a good view of the valley.
Yeah.
You can see all the houses down here.
Yeah.
We tried to take photos of it. They don't come out very good.
Yeah.
But we could see the smog coming off of this well site, going straight down into the valley, through the golf course, and right up to those homes.
No.
It was so bad the one day that it pretty much blocked out the pine trees in the golf course. You couldn't see them. That's how thick the haze was. But it came right from the well site, straight down.
Now, do you know those folks down over the hill? I mean, it's a little bit far away to know neighbors. But
I grew up around
here.
here.
So you know these folks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people. It's a shame.
Yeah. Do you call those folks when you see, like, when you see them?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
Because that's one thing that, is not established, is kind of a network or a mechanism for early warning. There are no alarms really associated with these industrial sites here. There's no continuous air monitoring. There's no emergency plan really established if something were to happen. If there's a release, let's say that and there are releases, in fact, intentional releases.
They had like an explosion up there.
Oh, they had an explosion.
Right.
And
so,
what was the response? What did you hear? Sirens?
Fortunately, I was on vacation.
Oh,
but,
really?
My neighbor was home. My whole life, I have been a raging Republican, conservative. I voted for George Bush twice. My original thoughts on drilling was that it's going to bring even my family, even myself, money. I thought that we would, it would change the world. It would stop, people from fighting in the Middle East. And I just thought that it was really a great, great thing. And fortunately, I was slapped across the face with this before I was even offered to sign a lease. So I knew what it was about before I was even approached to sign. It's been a nightmare. I moved here 5 years ago. I'm from around here. I grew up just a couple miles down the road, and I wanted to move back here with my family. And we bought this piece of land. It was beautiful. The cows are out back. I was just really happy to move back here to be with my family. thought that we got a great piece of land, and it's been a nightmare. It's been every single day that I wake up, I have to deal with this. Just the disrespect is something that I can't even explain to somebody until they go through it. And I actually, I'm embarrassed to even say this, but years ago, when I'd hear people out west, you know, complain about drilling, and I thought, oh, they're crazy, they're a bunch of liberal nuts, you know, they just think there's global warming. And now, unfortunately, that's what I'm being called. And it's a shame. And it took me so long to move back here, save money, build what I think is a beautiful house, and this is what I have. The lights from this well pad shine into my 2-year-old's bedroom. I've had nosebleeds. I have been dizzy to the point where I've had to lay on my bedroom floor. I've been to the doctor with sinus problems, almost like allergy symptoms. I've never had allergies before in my life, ever. It just, psychologically, it's just a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. And I hope people listen to what we have to say around here, because you're going to be next. They put these in I live in a residential area. People have no idea. I mean, it's coming, and you're going to get it. So take my advice and listen close. Listen very close, because it's coming. We have 28 gas wells within 1 mile of my home. If you don't understand about gas drilling, you don't understand that it's not one well. A well pad consists to up to 12 wells. So it's not one well, you're getting 12. And they will come back, and they can keep continuing to frack that well until they have those 12 wells. So this could go on forever. This just isn't temporary. I mean, they could come back, once they frack this well, there's only, I think, 7 wells at this well pad. They could come back in 5 years and do it again. So, I mean, I now live in an industrial zone, and it's going to be like that forever. It's not a one-time deal. People sign leases and think, oh, it's a 5-year lease. No, it's an eternal lease. It's forever. They just have 5 or 10 years to do work at that site. But people don't understand that. Right now, this is zoned residential.
But within a mile of it, you have a major industrial complex.
Yes, yes, within a mile. And this, like I said, this well is 1,500 feet. People think that they're going to make millions of dollars. Look what I live next to. I don't have a dime. I do not have a dime. And as a matter of fact, I've probably lost money on my property. I don't know who would want to buy this. I do, this summer when they were drilling the well here, I had an air monitor, and I'm going to give that to you. You can have that copy. But my air quality, and I shouldn't even have to learn this stuff, but unfortunately I know it. My particulate matter 2.5, which are the small, particulates, the highest was 8,145.
Wow.
On a bad day in Fort Worth, Texas, which is a city, high for them is about 7,000. Mine was 8,175.
Now we're on the top of a knoll right here, too.
Yes, and this hill is actually one of the highest points in, I think, South Franklin or this area.
Yeah.
But, so that's alarming.
Yeah.
And one evening I came out when they were making a lot of noise, And I kind of kept a journal. I kept like a little health journal, more for myself than anything else. But I came out with my video camera and I'm videotaping. And my throat, I mean, I'm from the country, you know, you dig in the dirt, you know, put in a garden, you know, your throat kind of gets dry if you're digging or whatever. And my throat started getting really dry. And I thought, you know, wow, this is like, you know, when I was a kid playing in the dirt. I turned off the camera, went inside, and I blew my nose, bloody.
No.
From 5 minutes standing out here on my porch.
Look at these numbers. I mean, you have, I mean, this is from the Southwest Pennsylvania Environmental Health Project. This is a nonprofit organization funded principally, I think, from the Heinz Foundation. And to provide basically assistance like this to folks around, to be able to set out air monitors, to analyze those, and then give you a report back. And what we're seeing here is that they have it listed in really nice, just, you know, codes of alarm. Green, yellow, orange, and red. Red, well, green is there are no associated health risks. And red, unhealthy for all. People with heart or lung diseases, older adults, and children should avoid extended or heavy exertion. Everyone else should be reduce extended or heavy exertion. And you have here, going over that red marker 2 times, both of these were in the evenings, you were basically on orange alert, unhealthy for sensitive groups. That would be elderly folks, people with asthma, things that you're developing now. You said your symptoms are asthma-like, so you would fall into now sensitive groups, and that is you've hit multiple times.
Right.
And then generally, and this isn't without fracking around here. This is just
that was just the vertical well.
Just the vertical well drilling, and this is again particulate matter. This isn't the volatile organic compounds or hydrogen sulfide or none of this. This is just particles from activity.
Correct.
So you don't expect this is going to get any better, do you?
No.
No.
Not at all. Not at all. This is my just kind of personal journal that I kept since they began, you know, drilling up here. But but I had inflamed corneas, which I never had before. I didn't even know what it was. And I saw 2 doctors, separate doctors about it, just kind of by chance, not because you know, the one was on vacation and they referred me because it wasn't getting better. And the other doctor told me I had chemical burns.
On your eyes?
Yes.
On your eyes?
On my eyes. And I told him, I said, I threw away all my makeup, I did this, I did that. He said, this is not, he says, I could have saved you a lot of money. He said, it's not your makeup. He said, it's something environmental, it's something in the air. And I sit here and I can watch, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was sand, I don't know what it was, but they would dump stuff up there and it just was billowing into the air. But it went on for basically all summer. 3 days after they were done at this well site, my eyes felt better.
Really?
Yes.
So whatever was going on there, the correlation of your symptoms was with this material
correlated,
that you could see
yes.
directly.
We went on vacation. My eyes felt great. After a couple days, you know, they felt great. A couple days after we got home, it was the same thing. So they were drilling this one since November of last year. And this one is in May. So I really started doing this in May when we had the windows open. I'm from the country. I hate air conditioning. I always have the windows open. Unfortunately, we had to keep them closed all summer and I barely came outside. But like I had abdominal pains. My son had blood in his mucus. I had blood in my mucus. There was loud drilling, the vibrations. I could smell burnt plastic, almost like a Play-Doh smell. I was also dizzy on this day with the smell. So bad I had to lay on the bedroom floor. I had headache and chills. My son had a headache, sore throat. My son had a stomach ache. My husband had blood in his, from his nose. My ears were hurting, sore throat. My son threw up when he was playing outside. A burning oil smell. Son had sore throat. So this is weeks.
Yeah.
So this isn't a cold. I mean, the list just goes on and on.
Yeah.
That's a great example. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here again in June, severe headaches, blood and mucus, NV41, which was the well out this direction, very loud. And then here we'd gone on vacation. Upset stomach, coughing, sore throat, severe headache, stomach ache, smell of sulfur, sore throat, headache, my inflamed corneas. I was on steroid drops for weeks. Here in August, we had chest pain, sore throat, itchy eyes. I mean, we're not sickly people, even in the wintertime, and to have this in the summer is very odd to me. In my entire life, I've had one nosebleed prior to drilling, and that was when I was pregnant. I don't have nosebleeds. And then I just kind of was writing down like about the trucks driving up and down the road. They weren't even permitted to do so, yet they drive down. We have actually another well that I forgot about, which is about a mile down the road also, but it's kind of downwind from me. But they would always use the road illegally. It wasn't bonded, and they'd use their Jake brakes along the road.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's like an invasion. I just wish they could do this with just an ounce of respect. And I think it would make people's lives just a tad bit easier.
We have seen just in this last week, going to folks' homes, that you can watch these releases just go down into the valley and migrate through these zones. So a 1 mile exclusion zone, when you concentrate that, could be like a big river of toxins flowing down to your neighbors' homes right there that
Right.
you pointed to right there.
Right.
Only just 2 miles from less than 2 miles.
Yeah, less than 2 miles.
This is a kill zone down there.
Yeah, and when I come down, when I'm coming home, as soon as I get down here to kind of like the crest of that hill, it always smells.
You
always.
can smell it.
You can smell it.
Yeah.
But you know, if you don't want to believe it, or you just don't want to hear it, you're gonna just pretend like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people do, and even I try to do that. I try to just pretend like, oh, maybe it's, just to get by on a daily basis.
Well, one thing, Jodi, is that, soon you won't smell it. We've met with people in the last 2 days. They don't smell the things that we smell when they go in their home.
Well, I had somebody out here the one day, and she's like, oh, it stinks up here. She's like, my throat feels clogged up. And I'm like, I don't even smell anything.
You don't even smell it already anymore.
No, and that alarms me. There literally is no one to turn to. I actually wrote a letter. You know how the White House, they have, you can send a letter.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, let me just send a letter. And I told them that we were sick. And they wrote back just a generic letter and said that it's good for the country.
You're sacrificed. This is a
Yeah.
sacrifice zone.
And I've always been so proud of my country. All of my relatives fought in the wars, and I've always been so proud, and I'm just ashamed of my country, just ashamed.
Yeah.
And embarrassed. I'm almost embarrassed. I think if we did this to other countries, I can't imagine. I know why they dislike us.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed, and I apologize for ever having that mindset, because it was wrong. It was wrong. It's just a beautiful place, and it's being ruined, and people think they're going to be millionaires, and they just don't want to. They just don't want to believe it for $1. It's a shame.
What about notifying you, like if there's going to be any activity that has the potential to release?
They do not notify you unless you have a water well. So I have city water. My neighbor has a water well. So that is the only reason why we found out that they were drilling here, is because he had a water well, and they're required to test it.
Yeah. But I mean more about like daily activity. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
I mean that. Yeah, I mean that would be a little bit nice if they could say, hey, you know, we're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. It might get loud tonight, or maybe turn your lights around. No one lives on that hillside. Maybe they could turn their lights around instead of shining into our house. Yeah. But it's come to the point where you have to pick your battles. You know, you don't want to complain about every little single thing. It's like you have to pick, like you got to pick your battles.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that this is downwind, but I feel like a breeze coming this direction.
Yeah, it is coming. Yeah.
So I mean, do you get breezes in this?
Oh yeah. Generally, it comes from this way. That's why it kind of blows. That's why we always, see it blow down into the valley there.
Yeah.
But sometimes we'll get a wind this way. But generally it's from this direction, which is not any better because we have 3 wells.
Yeah, no.
3 pads over that way, and they're actually putting in 50 more wells down Route 18.
50?
So, yes, 50.
So that will be a total of what?
It's like a total, I think total they're going to have 64 wells roughly, and that's not far.
Yeah.
Air miles, that's maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It's not far.
And that funnels, I mean, if you can get a shot of where we're talking about here.
Oh, it comes right down the valley.
This road, so it'll come right down this valley. So one of the things, like I've been promoting, and all of the evidence really suggests that a 1 mile area is basically a toxic exclusion zone. Just generally, if you had flat areas, and that would be, like you would just say no inhabitable structures, nothing in that zone. I mean, that seems reasonable,
yes,
right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, this next to a residential neighborhood is absurd. But the way it divides communities is sickening. It's sickening because people think, oh, of course I'm going to sign a lease. They're putting the well up here on this road, so it's not going to be anywhere near my house. Well, how can you do that to your neighbor? And I know these people. I mean, I grew up with these people. And to think like that for $1, for $1, that you're going to make me sick for $1. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Are these church-going people around here? Do you go to church yourself?
I do, and but they hit the churches. The gas companies hit up the churches a long time ago, and put ads in the church papers, and so even they'll take $1. It's sad.
Local? You live in the town itself?
In the town.
In the town. You're in township. Do you get any support, or do you have any discussions with the folks that your elected officials in this region?
No. I was told that I was spreading fear and panic in my community. I don't want to say by who, but it was somebody that you would not want to hear it from, and I think is alarming that they said that to me.
Yeah. That you're a fear monger.
Yeah. And but it's funny because everyone agreed with me. But I was the one who stood up, and people backed me, but it's still it's hard.
Yeah.